Hello, hi everybody. I am Thekla Petridou, a Greek Cypriot YouTuber, psychologist and author, and this is our weekly video in English. I promise to my YouTube followers that every Friday I will upload a video in English. This Friday I managed. Even though I'm driving and I filmed the video while driving, I'm here to discuss your questions or your worries or your ideas. This week we're going to talk about youth and about the melancholy of getting older. A young boy who is going to be 30 next month wrote to me on Instagram, on direct messages on Instagram, and he said to me, he's a follower who lives in Greece, and he watches all my videos, as he claimed, he watches all my videos in Greek, but he said, my mother tongue is English, so I would prefer that you made this video in English. So here I am, and thank you for giving me an idea for this week's video in English. He said, I'm turning 30 next week, and I feel somewhat bad. I feel a melancholy. Melancholy is an ancient Greek word which means black mood. That's what it means. Black mood. It means that it's not depression per se, but it's sad and depressive feeling, negative feeling. You feel sad. You feel sad on a prolonged period. He said, why do I feel sad? Why do I feel a melancholy for me turning 30? How should I overcome this? My friend, you and all the other young people at the age of 30, I can totally understand how you feel, and I can connect with your feelings, because when I was in your age, I had the exactly same feelings. I remember that, especially at the age of 33, I felt so very old. For the record, now I'm 46. But when I became 30, and somewhat until my middle 30s, I felt like I was getting old, and that terrified me, because I wasn't young enough for people to say, oh, she's so young and she has achieved so much. And I wasn't old enough so that I get a credit for, oh, she has achieved so many things in her life, so she can get some rest now. I think it's all about our society being antagonistic. We antagonize each other. We put very hard terms, very hard goals on ourselves and other people. And also, and mostly, we live in a society that glorifies youth and considers youth to be a very special thing. It's good to be young. Your skin looks better. Your body is more flexible. You might even look pretty or handsome. Whereas some people, they look more handsome or more beautiful or more sweet after their 40s. I don't know why. Maybe it's wisdom kicking in, or content, real content from life kicking in. But I don't know, there is this very weird period of time, this decade, from your 30s to your 40s, that whereas you are very young, because our life expectancy is at least 80 years in our times, and some people live above the 80-year threshold, and being 30 is not even being in the middle of your road in life. Nevertheless, being 30 makes you feel, I don't know, surprised. I'm not a young child anymore. I'm not so young. What we know through neuropsychology and brain development is that teenage years last until the age of 26 usually for women, and until the age of 28 for men, because our brain keeps developing until those years. So even though from a legal point of view you become an adult when you're 18 or when you're 21 in some countries, From a psychological point of view, you are an adult, you have a fully developed brain at the age of 26 for women, 28 for men, around 30, just a little bit before 30. So at the age of 30, you have a fully developed brain and you can realize your situation. You can have critical thinking. You can compare yourself to other people in your age or younger ages or older ages, and you can see yourself in the world from a brand new perspective, that I'm a 30-year-old person, or 31 or 32 or 33. I am not so young anymore so that I am allowed to make many mistakes. I'm not so old so as to have respect from my peers that I have achieved some things in my life. So it's a harsh decade, 30 to 40. It's a really harsh decade. I'm 46 years old now, and the most difficult decade I had in my life was from 30 to 40. And I'm not talking only from a personal experience, but many people that I talk with, they have similar experiences to share, that when I was around my 30 years old, when I was 32, 33, I felt sad about my life. I felt that I haven't had achieved anything in my life, and yet time was running, and I was somewhat depressed and somewhat, I don't know, melancholic. There are also some biological reasons for this, hormonal reasons, because there is this growth hormone that you find in abundance in very young children, in embryos, in teenagers, and growth hormone is giving you a very good feeling. Growth hormone is like the best antidepressant ever. And when we stop developing, we still have some growth hormone spurts, but this is limited to once, twice a week during our sleep time. Whereas younger people, they have growth hormone running constantly in their body through their brain, so they have this elated feeling that they feel really happy and they feel optimistic, and they have good thoughts about themselves and other people because they are pumped with growth hormone. And when you grow up, you still have some growth hormone. You don't get totally deprived of it, but it's in smaller quantities. That's why sleep experts say that we should sleep on regular timetables, and we should sleep at least 12 midnight till morning, because growth hormone, if it's gonna get you, it's gonna get you in regular sleeping times. I think something like 2 or 3 in the morning, or 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm not a neuropsychologist, I'm not a biologist, I don't know for sure. Look it up. Anyway, so there are also hormonal reasons for feeling bad and out of your waters. I think it's the decade 30 to 40 that you try to adapt to the new reality that you're not a child anymore, you're not a teenager anymore, you're not young anymore. And young means someone who is allowed to make mistakes, someone who has a long time in front of them, so that if they make a mistake, they can change this. And this is a fallacy. Yes, this is a false belief, because at any age, you have a lot of time to make mistakes, and at the same time, you have no time to make mistakes. Because nobody knows or can, I'm sorry about this, it's the speed bumps. Some people were running very fast on these village roads. That's why they put the speed bumps for other people who are not running too much, just to upset their stomach. Anyway, it's a fallacy. It's a fallacy that we know for sure that I'm gonna live for example, my grandmother died at the age of 95, so I tend to believe or assume that I will also live until the age of 95, but nobody can guarantee this to me for sure. Nobody can give me a contract. Oh, Thekla, you are going to live for another 50 years. Yes, I'm 46 now. Nobody can guarantee this to me. I might die during this drive. I might die tomorrow. I might die in 50 years. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody can estimate for sure that this person who is 30 years old now has only another 30 years of life ahead of him, or ahead of her, another 40 years of life, another 50 years of life. Nobody knows. So, in a way, if you realize this reality, if you realize this reality, my English is so limited. If you realize that nobody knows for sure how long they're gonna last on this earth, and that what you know for sure is that you have today and that you had yesterday and the days before, and that today you can design your day and your future, this might give you some feeling of freedom. Because honestly, we never know. We never know. We cannot know, and this is the beauty of life. If you knew from the beginning what would happen at the end, you wouldn't go on so many endeavors and adventures. You wouldn't meet people. You wouldn't fall in love with people. You wouldn't have children. You wouldn't have education. You wouldn't do anything. Because you say, oh, why should I try so hard about this relationship or about this achievement, and then it's not gonna be of any use to me? Whereas everything is of use to us. Everything, every little detail matters. If we have a youthful mind, a youthful soul that searches for happiness and searches for spiritual lessons. You can have spiritual lessons, you can have spiritual growth at any point in your life. I spoke about growth hormone before. Growth hormone is biological. We cannot produce it and we cannot induce it, but we can make ourselves crave for spiritual growth. And if you get on a spiritual path, that you try to make yourself better and make your soul calm, more calm or happier, and meet your not just your emotional needs, but also your spiritual needs, and have an existential approach in life, and try to find a meaning in your life. You won't mind about your age. You won't mind if you're 30, if you're 40, if you're 50, if you're 60. You won't mind, because you will always be young. Truth seekers, spiritual warriors are always young. They are young in their brain. They don't care about materialistic definitions that you are in middle age, you are in old age, you are in very old age. They really don't care because they keep their souls young. So what I have to say to the dear friend who asked this question is, happy birthday. It's so good to be 30 and it's so bad to be 30 at the same time. It's wonderful and it also sucks. But suck out of your life all the energy you can find, all the spiritual energy you can find. Try to see yourself from a spiritual perspective. Try to feed your soul and not just your body. And try to find yourself and see yourself from a spiritual perspective. Because you have an immortal soul, if you believe in soul immortality. I don't know, it's a belief. If you believe, I believe that soul is immortal. You might not believe. Even if you don't believe that soul is immortal, your soul is not materialistic, so it's not affected by your age. It's not affected by anything that has to do with time or your appearance or your health. Your soul is a spiritual part of you that can be left or can be, I'm looking for the right verb. It can be preserved to be young at all times. Let's have youthful souls. And when you do that, when you invest in your spirituality, you are gonna forget about materialistic worries, about your hair getting gray or having some skin differences that shows that this woman or this man are no longer in their 20s. And from a psychological point of view, you need some years to settle in the awareness that you are an adult and that you can still enjoy life being an adult. And I promise to you that in a few years you will look back at your 30th birthday and you say, oh, I was so young and stupid, and I was worried for no reason. I was worried for becoming 30 years old. Now I'm 50 years old and I'm owning it. Happy birthday, honey, and I wish for all of us to have youthful souls. Bye.